The Christiansens here with Next Level Deer Supplements. We want to welcome you to Season 5 of the Velvet Game Series, brought to you by our partners, Chasing the Dream TV.
Let them grow.
Alright guys, welcome to the 2025 Next Level Deer Supplements Velvet Gain Series. This will be the kickoff video. It's the last day of May today, and this is probably the latest I've gotten cameras back out in the last at least 5 or 6 years. And I'm finally back up here at the ranch. It's been a little over a month since Scott, the owner of Next Level, and I were actually up here turkey hunting, and finally made it back up. So it's a little bit of a late start, but thankfully I had a lot of the feed and mineral sites running all spring, all winter as well, straight up after rifle season, got everything filled back up and restocked stuff in April when I was up here last, so a lot of the sites are still good to go. But we're going to hit a lot of the other sites that we run throughout the summer, everything that doesn't have cows. I know there are several pastures we've got cows in right now, so we won't touch any of those, but starting here at the hay meadow today, and this is a spot that I'm pretty excited for this year. I don't know all what bucks that we had here made it, but the last 2 years we've had some really good up-and-comers, and probably 4 or 5 of them that I can think of off the top of my head that should be 5+ years old this year. And several of them have some extra tines as 4-year-olds and 3-year-olds. So we've had a really wet spring. I think it's going to be a good year for antler growth as long as the rain doesn't shut off on us. But this should be a pretty good summer and a lot of deer that I'm looking forward to be able to hunt this year. And if you haven't seen the shed hunting cheat code one, we found a ton of sheds from pretty much all of the better deer that we're excited to look at this year. So if you haven't checked that video out, I'll link that one below in the description and at the end of the video. But it's pretty awesome. We should have several deer that'll be at the top of the hit list this year, a bunch of 5- and 6-year-old deer. So really excited, as I said, but we'll get started on this one and show you the process. All right, to start this site back off, we'll hit it with some Next Level Deer Supplements mineral and some launch supplement. The launch smells really good to us and probably tastes really good to deer. I've been doing that to start the sites especially, but also mixing it in with the feed and the mineral sites throughout the year, the last couple years since they came out with it. And it seems to help a lot. The deer can obviously smell it from further away. This site, as you can see, has been getting hit. It's full of deer tracks. Obviously there's some residual in the ground still from last summer when we quit restocking the site. But I'm gonna fill this up, put a T-post feeder up, and slap a camera over on this fence post. And super excited to see what these bucks in this spot look like this year. I don't think too many of them got shot last year during rifle. I didn't at least see any pictures of them, but I also didn't have a camera here after rifle season. So I'm hopeful at least a few of them made it. As I said earlier, there's a couple that should be pretty good shooter bucks. So get this one done and move down onto the creek bottom. Alright, the next spot's down here at the creek feeder. There's also some pretty good young deer here. Only 2 that I can think of that should be shooters this year, and usually they're not around much in the summer. Usually they show up September, October, which kind of sucks for summer pictures, but still usually a pretty good spot for summer velvet. So get the camera, actually cameras up, get a SD card and batteries swapped out in it, fill up this feeder, hit the mineral site, and then move down probably around the bullpen, somewhere down by the cabin. So get this one done, move on to the next. Alright, the next spot we've got is here at the little alfalfa field, which was corn last year, beans the year before, and back to beans this year, which I'm really excited about. The last 2 years that this has been in beans has been pretty good. Last year we didn't have any real mature deer here. I guess there was one that was really poor in the antlers, but at least down along the creek bottom, this whole stretch, there's a couple pretty good young deer that hopefully will show up here, especially with this being beans. And 2 years ago when this was beans, we actually had bucks that we've got on camera 2 miles out in the hills that moved all the way up here to feed in the beans. So that's the hope for this year, get some other deer from the area to move into this spot and then hopefully be able to hunt them. We haven't had a huntable buck here since bog in 2021, so it's been a while. I guess 2 years ago we had Forrest Gump over here, and he was a 5-year-old big 8-point, and then he moved right back out into the pastures where we usually had him the previous several years before that, once the beans got harvested. So it's going to be pretty fun to velvet scout this spot, but we'll get this big feeder filled up, refresh the mineral site right next to me, and move over to the bullpen, pull the feeder from the windmill bottom where there's cows, and then go out south to the Green Pond Valley and the southwest pasture and check on the cow situation there and get the feeders up, refilled. One of them out in the southwest pasture should still have some feed in it from last month, but that's one I'm really excited about. There's a lot of good bucks out there, so get this one done and head on the way. Kickstart it with some launch. Next up is here at the bullpen, and if you can see behind me, the whole thing is basically full of weeds and some rye that was planted last fall, but we're going to hold off until mid-July to come clear this out, get it all killed, and then do a fall blend from Buck Fever Seed Co., and then do another section of it in drilled rye and clover. Maybe a little alfalfa mix. We've thought about that for the last couple years, being down here in this sandy bottom. We're right next to the creek, so the alfalfa can get the taproot down into the water, and that I think would work pretty good. But for now, we'll get the feeder filled up. There's a ton of deer tracks around here, so there's been a lot of them over here. Usually this is a really good summer spot for velvet gains, so get this Big Bucks Plus feeder filled up with some launch and next level pellets. No mineral site here because it's basically all sand, but the feeders with the pellets work really good everywhere that there is sand. So get this and the camera set up and move out into the hills. Alright guys, going to wrap the video up here in the southwest pasture. This will be the last site for the day. Checked a couple other pastures on the way out here, and both of those have cows in them, so I'm going to wait on those till later in the summer once they get pulled. And usually we do a couple more mineral sites on this pasture, but those areas are part of what we did the burn this spring. And I'm kind of hoping some of the hardwoods bounce back and some of the buckbrush grows up and the deer start using it more, because right now they look pretty barren, but we'll get this site started. This pasture is definitely the one I'm most excited about for the year. We've got Framezilla, which will be a 6-year-old, and Bowie, that'll be a 5-year-old, both going to for sure be on the list, and hopefully some other ones. And along with all the up-and-comers we've got out here, we found a ton of sheds this past April when we did the burn, or right after we did the burn. So if you want to go watch that video, I'll link it in the description below. But just keep following along with the Next Level Deer Supplements Velvet Gains series throughout the summer. It gets really exciting during the July and August updates and September hit list update. So I'm excited for that, excited to see what some of these bucks turn into. So far, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good growth year, as long as it doesn't turn into another drought for the 5th or 6th year in a row. So. If you want to watch more of our videos and the shed hunting cheat code video, I'll leave that in the link below, and follow along throughout the rest of the season. Thanks for watching.